Okay, so before we go, and I want everybody, make sure you get the album, The Art of Dreaming, but I have to ask you about another special being that was in your life.
Okay.
I met your cat,
Right.
and she, her cat had a very special gift about it. She told me this, and I did not believe her. You know the one I'm talking about?
I do.
Can you tell everybody?
Romeo was my kitty cat. Oh my gosh. Well, yes. Romeo, my little neighbors that used to live across the street, they were adorable. And so I took them one day. I said, ask your mom if we can go get a cat. It was snowing. So we went over there, and I literally sang to get that cat because I was wanting a white cat to sort of match my big white sheepdog. I don't know why. That's what I had in my mind. They brought in this cat and this little bitty kitten. It had fleas all over it, and it just looked so bad. And I said, oh, I love that cat. And they go, well, this cat's going to have to recover. It's sick. And I said, could I have it when it gets well? They go, well, there's already 2 names on the waiting list. And I go, well, could I be number 3 on the list? And so they take him back there. So when I go back out, my little friends were out front. And they were from China, but they're American citizens, and I adored them. I used to teach them piano lessons. Her mother would say, Miss Deborah, why you not teach them children's songs? Why you teach them adult songs? Like I would teach them my songs or maybe a little classical piece or something like that. I said, well, Leslie, I said, they're so capable. They know how to do it, so that's just what I would do. And I would even have little recitals here for them, and they would bow. And we had so much fun. I love those kids so much, and that's why I called them up and said, let's go get us a pet. Well, we can share it, you know. So that's a big, long story. So when I got the cat, they said it was not going to happen. Well, I walked out from back in the back, and little Denise, the youngest one, she's real outgoing, and she was standing there, and this man in like a dog catcher outfit, like kind of a security guy, he was standing there, and he was going, and it was near Christmas time, and he was handing them some little lollipop things. He goes, and what's your Christmas song? And she goes, Rockin' Little Christmas.
Aww.
And then Sylvia, the older daughter, she was much more subdued because she really did watch over her brothers and sister. And so she starts jumping up and down going, sing it, Miss Deborah, sing it, Miss Deborah. And I go, oh, what the heck. I wrote a letter to Santa, started singing Rockin' Little Christmas. And then that lady that had been so stern towards me, she comes up to me and says, I think your cat will be ready very soon. I said, well, okay. So the next morning, I wake up. Well, Raymond kisses me goodbye because he had to be somewhere that day. And I get a phone call, and they said, this is Mrs. So-and-so from the Williamson County Animal Clinic, and your cat is ready. And I went, it is? And she goes, do you still want it? I went, yes. And so Raymond I'd told him about what happened that day, and he goes, we do not need a cat. So I hung up and I went, oh my gosh, I said I want that cat, and Raymond was not wanting a cat. So I call up Raymond, and he goes, Raymond Hicks, like that, and I said, hey, and he goes, aw, were you missing me? And I said, well, yeah, I was missing you. And he goes, oh, and I said, but guess what? And he goes, what? And I said, they called me from the Animal Control Center in Williamson County, and they said the cat is ready. He goes, we do not need a cat. And I go, okay, forget it. We won't get the cat. And he goes, oh, just go get the cat. And I go, great. I called Sylvia up. I said, Sylvia, come on, we're going to go get the cat. So we had so much fun. Because I promised Raymond that I promised him, I said, I promise I'm going to take him out on a leash. I'm going to train the cat to use the bathroom outside. So I used to take Romeo is what I named him. I would take him outside on a leash, and just about when he was about to be ready to do his business, a leaf would fall, and he would get distracted.
Yes.
And it was freezing cold. I felt like a bag lady in my front yard. I'd have on a coat, and I'd be standing there going, come on, Romeo, please go to the bathroom. So finally I just thought, I can't do this any longer. So I'd heard about how you can train a cat to use the bathroom. So I went over to the pet store and bought one of those things that you put in your commode, and I hid it from Raymond. And So, but I was training him, and I had a little kitty litter box, but I had all the utensils and stuff for that little thing, put it in the rose room. I call it the rose room. I named it after my mother. That's my guest room. Romeo's special talent was that he would use the toilet. I mean, I would be standing there brushing my teeth, and all of a sudden, Romeo would jump up on the toilet, and he would circle the toilet a couple of times. And then he would kind of dig on the porcelain, and then he would scoot up to the edge and do his thing. And then what's really, really funny is that I don't know if he saw us humans doing this or if it was an old habit of covering things up, but he would reach over to the toilet paper and start going, and he would scroll off all the toilet paper. So when Raymond and I first got together, we were like, I'll say, I like it under. And he'd go, I like it over the top. I go, I like it under. That's the way I like it. But he won out. It was over the top until he goes, well, looks like you're going to get your way. We're going to go under because we're going through too many rolls of toilet paper. Romeo would have piles of toilet paper. He's the sweetest cat.
He was. I saw him do this, so that's why she told me this, and I thought, she's lost her mind. This cat cannot. I thought you were being funny.
No, he
and
really
cute,
did.
But he really did. He really did. And so you're telling this is at Christmas, which is a great tie-in.
Okay.
Because you wrote this great Christmas, and you didn't know I was going to bring it up, but this great Christmas book, the children's book.
Thank you.
And tell us a little bit about how you did this came about. Because I love mine. Mine's autographed.
Thank you very much. Well, this book is, it's just another blessing, another gift from God, really. Because I had no intentions of writing a book. All I knew is I wanted to get me some calligraphy pens.
Yes.
So I bought me a little art pad. And so then I came home one day and I thought, I don't even know how to do this. Well, let me get this pen and see what it looks like. So I wrote, Once Upon a Time. And I thought, I guess I could write a book. And so I just started writing this book. And I wrote it in 4 days. I would write it until at the end of the day, I would get kind of stuck, and I would I don't know what's going to happen next. Oh, well, I'm not going to force it, so I'd go to sleep. The next morning, I'd be making coffee, and I'd go, hey, I know what happens, and I would start writing it. So there's two little miracles about this book. The miracle is, first of all, I could not find somebody to publish the book.
Yeah.
I wrote it out in this certain form, and then I had this one publisher that said, oh, but we don't like we love your book, but we don't like the hero, the main character in the book. And I was like, well, since it was a gift from God, I think I'm going to stick with the one I've got.
That's right.
So, anyway, one day I was writing right here, the other room, with Kix. Kix dropped by, and we wrote a couple of songs that day. We were kind of on a roll. So I was asking Kix about his kids, and he told me what his son did. And then he said, are you familiar with Molly's artwork? And I said, no, I'm not. And he told me, it's really great. She has some up at BMI. And he said, you ought to go to her website. So I went to her website. And when I started looking at it, this little light bulb went off. And I thought, maybe that's the missing ingredient. Maybe I need an illustrator. So I called up Molly and I said, hey, I told her what happened. Kix and I were writing, and he told me about your artwork, and I have a book. And I said, I was thinking I'd like to read it to you to see if you would like to be interested in doing the artwork on it. She said, okay. So I took it to her and I read it to her, and she's real quirky. Like when I was reading this book to Molly, she'd be like, she'd respond to everything. So cute, so animated. And at the end she says, when did you write this book, Deborah? And I said, oh, Molly, I'm really embarrassed to tell you. She goes, when? I said, I wrote it in 1986. She goes, that's the year I was born. I said, you're kidding me. She goes, no, and guess what night I was born? I said, I don't know. She goes, Christmas Eve. I said, wait a minute, I do remember it. I said, the whole town remembers when you were born. It's like it spread over Nashville like wildfire. Kix and Barbara had a little baby girl. They named her Molly. Oh, Molly, that's so cute. I said, I hope you will. I said, you don't have to, but I would love for you to illustrate my book. So she did.
Oh.
And going back to the main character, I didn't know what the main character's name was going to be, but come to find out, that's another thing that just came to me near the end, was there's a lady that I befriended one night. She was a lady that was kind of out on her own, you know. And so I'm not going to give it away because I want y'all to get the book and read it. But her name, her name is the name of the main character. And so that's it. And so another thing too, I told Molly, I said, I don't even know how much to pay you because no amount I could possibly pay you would ever be enough because you're so talented. She goes, well, that's funny. My dad was playing golf with a guy just the other day, and what he does is publish this book. Maybe we can call him and find out. And I said, that sounds good. So I did. I called him and I said, you know, I don't even know if I could even possibly afford to hire. I don't know what illustrators charge. He goes, I know how to do this. I know I do this all the time. I said, well, then you do it because Kix and Barbara are some of my best friends, and I want to make sure that everybody's happy. So he worked it all out for me, and lo and behold, there's the book. And I don't know, it's just another thing I didn't really know I was going to do, but that I did.
And it's a great thing to have for the kids. It's a great thing to have for the adults, and it's a great gift. I think it's a really great gift because the story is really good. Children sometimes, people like to kind of patronize them and talk down to them, and this does not do that. This is a really good children's book.
Well, that's interesting that you should say that because that's what my husband said. He said this is sort of like a grown-up children's book.
Yeah.
And I think it's a lot in the language that's used and the way that the cadence of the way that it came out and everything. Yeah. And speaking of Dolly, we mentioned her a while ago. I did a little interview on her a little while back on just a little spot that I needed to do, and she was kind enough to do it for me, and I gave her the book, and she goes, oh good, she goes, I'm going to read this on my way to Arkansas with my little nieces and nephews, and she was so sweet to take a look at the book and look at it, and I just admire her so much for her imagination.
Library. Yeah, the library, yeah.
She's so amazing.
I love that. And we love you, Deborah Allen, and get the go on and get a head start and get this one now, the Christmas book, but you have to get this right now, because you have a little bit of time to get this, but get them both at the same time at your website,
That could be a good Christmas package.
Yes, good package. Put this in the stocking and put this under the tree, see?
Oh, Larry, thank you.
But we love it, and I love it, and I love you, so thank you so much.
I love you too, very much.